We'll see if Variety continues going on a meta or if he'll switch things around to his own personal god pool. Hungry for More this time around have the first pick.
Hungry for more here. See what they want to kind of look to target out. It's going to be Naja. So, man, Naja has just become a top pick, and not only Europe, but North America as well. It's kind of bled into. We're seeing so many bans against it.
Naja is a character that has existed on the cusp of top tier pick and has become a top pick not because of the game, not because of the numbers, but because of the players. It just so happens that our top junglers, CaptainTwig, NinjaBobat, Jungler, Dare to Care, Andinster, they all have a Naja. So that willingness to play that god brings it up. That's where the meta outside of the game comes.
Someone out of there.
Probably.
The most important one? Adapting? Illo?
Sure.
Do we even consider Panthera anymore? We just kind of expect them to go undefeated. And it's like, all right, let's look at the real league and ignore kind of the inhuman players up there. Picks and bans. Sold first pick by Hungry for More.
Janus. We get to see a Janus.
Okay.
Yeah, that Chronos, a little too strong. Torpedo banned it out, and that opens the door for Torpedo to select their very own Janus. Athena will be paired up, so double the globals, double the fun, says Torpedo, and Hungry for More select more of that healing. Guan Yu, welcome to the squad.
See what Hungry for More like to go into. Hun Batz. I felt Hun Batz was like, I feel like Hun Batz is going to be picked. And it was. A god that CaptainTwig really excels at. Very good against Janus specifically. If his ultimate's down or if the purification are down, you can kind of force him away from walls as well with the Fear No Evil placement. And honestly, if you find a crit, the Janus is dead.
And that's really... This is the god that I like to see CaptainTwig play.
This is CaptainTwig.
Even when he played the Naja in the last game, I said what was going to happen. He was going to play the setup man. It's like, every time, go to the sky, come on down. PrettyPriMe, finish the job, please. Thank you very much. Hun Batz allows him to do that just as well, except this time he'll be setting up the team fight in its entirety.
Ryzen taken away from PrettyPriMe. We actually saw him have a beautiful game on it last week. But unfortunately, Ryzen hasn't been able to find wins. The god is very strong, does a lot of damage, but it just seems no team can really make him work. Thom going to be taken away?
Herwind played him very, very well.
Okay, that's what...
Herwind was definitely...
starting to find some wins.
Yep. Ryzen slowly making his way up there. Isis, on the other hand, slowly making her way out of games as she's just banned and banned and banned and banned.
Torpedo right here really feel like Soul is going to Ataraxia, not really to PrettyPriMe in the mid lane. It's going to be Thor. Yep. Taken away from Torpedo. No high pressure jungler from NinjaBobat, unless he can find one here. I'll be interested to see if we're gonna see Gamehunter pick now, or if he's gonna find the counter pick.
Gamehunter. I mean, that in all honesty, that Apollo could be the selection for Gamehunter, but likely not. Fenrir, little wiggle room there. Jungle, solo.
Probably jungle, could be solo. If it was Divios, I'd say it was solo.
Sure. 2 picks on the side of Hungry for More. I don't expect the Soul to go to PrettyPriMe. Definitely not a god that comes to mind when I think PrettyPriMe. The Anhur, though, that selection will almost ensure that Soul will be played in the mid late.
Oh, man. Last pick coming through for Hungry for More, and it's going to be Sobek.
So, Guan Yu on Variety.
Guan Yu solo.
I mean, at the end of the day, Sobek solo still exists. Why haven't we seen so many Guardians in the short lane these days?
Because there's more experience in gold, and Guardians lack pressure early. Warriors are just going to beat them up and get too far ahead. It's kind of the deal.
Makes a lot of sense. So does Athena Medusa. The old duo lane combo comes on back.
So Apollo solo again.
Yep.
The Gamehunter split push.
Oh yeah. Like I said, this was something that Gamehunter was doing before it was.
I was so mad watching.
Okay, and now it's okay, and it's a little scary. Short lane, Gamehunter on that Apollo. Watch out. NinjaBobat will be playing the dog, and then yes, it will be the Sobek solo. I had an inkling that it would be Sobek solo Zindurn on the Guan Yu just because of what these players represent individually.
We'll have to see how this can match up to Gamehunter's Apollo. I love the skin, man. Look at it. Look kind of like the green. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the skin. I really like it.
The color shifts. Does it? Like Mercury?
No, it doesn't shift. But you can see. I think it's actually reflecting off the sun because as you switch it, it's turning green and yellow. I think.
So it's
Maybe it does shift a little bit.
It's running safety Mercury.
Yeah.
Or running safety Apollo. Don't go running without your safety vest, kids. You don't want to get hit by a car in the middle of the night. Gamehunter.
It's reflectors.
Yeah, dude.
It's reflectors you put on your bike.
Gamehunter making sure to stay safe. We might even see him build a helmet. PrettyPriMe will take a...
Can he build a helmet? I don't even know.
No.
I can't think right now.
PrettyPriMe, though,
mages.
like we were saying, Soul doesn't strike me as a PrettyPriMe target. Again, PrettyPriMe will take Anhur into the mid lane. I think Ullr, Neith, and Anhur are my 3 gods. Medusa as well. Those are the 4 hunters I want to see in mid. They're very ability-based. They can make an impact onto short rotations. And when it comes time to Gold Fury, you definitely don't want them around.
He is going... Oh, actually. Going the throwing dagger start, so he's going to have a little bit of pressure to clear here. But only 1 health potion, and PrettyPriMe needs to be a little bit careful because the one thing about throwing dagger is you run the risk of pulling aggro of archers, especially early on, if the opponents just kind of get in that throwing dagger range.
Certain players on Torpedo have taken Ataraxia aggro. A lot of damage coming out from this Soul early on. Moex even taking the Stellar Burst there, despite having the Medusa passive.
Zindurn already threw most of his potions, but same for Murrdurr. Both players here do have the meditation, so neither side's going to be in too much trouble unless a curse comes out, which actually can't happen.
No curses available. Everybody picking up Purification. Even the solo laner as you look at Gamehunter. So no teleport for the Apollo. Ultimate kind of makes up for that if you want to use it in that respect.
Yeah, this is, I think, pretty clear. Oh, Purification used very early. CaptainTwig could look to teleport here, but he's still got archers to deal with. Doesn't want to pull aggro on them. Going to take a lot of poke, though.
A lot of poke coming out from the guys on Torpedo. So much so that Hunger for More's duo combo will actually just back.
We actually have all the hunters in different lanes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just
no, Moex is playing Medusa.
Yeah, but yeah, he's the hunter in the duo. That's a mage. Soul's a mage, Thom.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what you're saying.
No, okay, you look at the dual lane, there's a Medusa. You look at the mid, there's an Anhur. You look at the Soul, there's an Apollo.
Oh,
when's the last time we've seen hunters in like all 3 lanes not facing off against each other?
Okay, what I thought you were going for was that none of the hunters were in the dual lane. They were just everywhere else. And I know Medusa seems like a mage, but
let's just move on.
Good choice. You kind of always see
Gamehunter taking a trip back to base. Variety getting the better of this matchup right now.
Yeah, you kind of always see this Mark of the Vanguard on these Sobek solos. Sometimes even on Sobek supports, just the ability to get hyper aggressive. You mentioned how CaptainTwig couldn't go aggressive in that mid lane because of the archers. Sobek will be able to do so because of that. It's a flat 5 damage that's removed from each damage source. NinjaBobat, certainly a damage source.
This is a bait, but I'm not sure if this is a bait they want to take. Athena going to come crashing down. Fear no evil used defensively.
Not enough.
And that was a 2-for-1 ult. 3-for-1 ult. Oh, CaptainTwig. Taunt back in, 1 health. NinjaBobat's going to follow over the wall. It's going to be first blood over to Torpedo.
And second blood quickly follows as Zindurn catches Korinyo in the jungle. Tallow Assault could have shut down the Janus.
Awkward. So the Athena ult comes out late. This is not a fight, honestly, Torpedo should have taken to begin with. The Fenrir Janus versus Anhur and Batz at level 5. And so obviously it goes in favor of Hungry for More, right? All that happens is if Fear no evil used defensively. But then CaptainTwig kind of just stays around and gets taunted.
He just like stays there,
like in front of an Athena. Did he like not expect to get taunted by an Athena? Like that's all she does. She's a taunt bot.
You got me there. Curious situation for
game 1 was
Twiggy.
great. I don't know what's going on game 2.
I mean, it's still very.
I know it's just first blood. It's not that big of a deal.
Variety. Hold his own against this Apollo, as you said. He sent Apollo back. This is now the second time that Sobek has been able to sit here. And that's credit to Sobek has sustained in his kit, and Apollo just doesn't. No death toll, no Dove's Gloves, just no sustain.
PrettyPriMe going to get this red buff, and CaptainTwig and him are going to farm up a little bit. So Apollo actually, even though he's been zoned out, he actually has a slight gold lead on Variety. I'm not exactly sure what's happening there. I'm assuming that's probably just last hits. It's a lot easier to secure those last hits.
Yeah, this is Sobek. A little bit little trouble getting those. And we saw when Variety was freezing the wave, not even going for the simple last hits. So not really too interested in all that riffraff.
Guan Yu here and the rest of the team going to come back up. And yeah, there you can see on the screen Apollo having 48 last hits on minions and Variety only 36. And that's an extra, you know, roughly 10 gold, you can assume, per minion. So that starts to add up into a couple hundred very quickly once you get into the 20 lead mark.
Variety now is the one taking a little bit of poke. He finds himself at about half HP.
Fenrir. Oh, they're trying to bait Variety. He has no mana. He does have a blue buff, though. NinjaBobat. He's going to catch him.
The ult's going to come out as well. Variety not
Mez.
using any purification as he doesn't have it.
That was just perfectly played.
Yep. Easy kill.
Gamehunter walks into jungle, baiting Variety to feel like he's safe. Variety obviously feels he's safe, looks to back. No teleport up, but he wasn't too worried.
Yep.
And then NinjaBobat just jumps out of the jungle, and pretty sure Variety was probably just he was in base. He was probably in his shop.
Window
Can't react
shopping.
in time.
Get caught window shopping.
Oh, Gold Fury going to be started up by Hungry for More.
And going to be finished up by Hungry for More. Janus shows up just a little bit too late.
The damage from Anhur right now on these objectives, so high.
Yep. Yeah, Anhur, that's something he's always really brought to the table. It is his ability to deal damage to the objectives.
Apollo also, in the meantime, split pushing, able to take down Variety's tower.
6-minute tower?
Hey man, Apollo's soul is real. If Brandon can win with it,
tower.
anyone can win with it.
Ouch. But yeah, 6-minute tower. That's a big tower. Wow.
Left-hand side, Zindurn going aggressive, looking to stun someone, and he's going to turn his attention to Medusa, who has Athena ult on top. The soul ult comes through, but not going to find anyone. And here's CaptainTwig rotating, big fear, no evil, and Apollo's coming crashing down. Korinyo snipes CaptainTwig, and PrettyPriMe, he's trying to get away, but it's all of Torpedo surging forward.
Great knockback from PrettyPriMe. Not going to be enough. The double kill goes the way of the other mid laner, Korinyo. On the Janus finds the kill. Zindurn now trying to box at Apollo. Not the right choice. Gamehunter says no. 5th kill for Torpedo comes the way of the solo lane rotation. And Variety a little too far away from his target. Forced to turn around.
It was unfortunate for Variety. He teleports into the back line. He immediately charges his ultimate, and he reads where Korinyo's going to go with the teleport, but the damage wasn't enough coming out from the Sobek ult, and Korinyo was just able to kind of walk away. I mean, Sobek doesn't really have options to chase him down after his charge prey is down as well.
Variety going for those penetration boots, so he will be doing a fair amount of damage out of this Sobek solo. Definitely a threat at the very least.
You can see he's already level 10. PrettyPriMe just hitting 9 here. Korinyo was already level 10 as well. So about a 500 gold lead for Torpedo, at least in the mid lane.
And a 1,200 gold lead for the team overall is Torpedo. Largely off of the early tower from Gamehunter, able to pick up 500 gold for his team, and that to a Gold Fury.
Torpedo also have 5 kills, although it doesn't feel like they have 5 kills. I don't know why. I feel like there's only like 2 kills in this game in total.
Yeah.
But getting the better of most of these engagements, at least in a little bit, and this is what's most worrying for Hungry for More, is this Apollo. What's he going to build into? Because what we saw from Gamehunter last time was actually building into an Urchin, and he was kind of like the quasi-initiator for the team.
This time around, you can see that attack speed coming out. And as I said, Hungry for More picked up the Gold Fury. Torpedo picked up a whole slew of kills in an early tower. And they still have a little bit of a lead. Gamehunter is going to be looking to push that quite literally by split pushing, I feel.
Left-hand side, CaptainTwig doesn't see a gank opportunity, so just going to steal a little bit of farm. And in the mid lane, though, it's a combination from Torpedo. You can see Murrdurr setting up with this Athena, trying to find a taunt on anyone who steps out of line.
CaptainTwig walks over the ward, gets taunted, purification forced, as he knows there's a whole bunch of damage waiting for him in the wings, able to get rid of Janus's ultimate.
Zindurn trying to box Bobat, and Bobat's just going to pick him up, and here comes the combo, Athena, and it's going to be actually Medusa to find the last hit.
PrettyPriMe shows up, deals a bunch of damage off of an Impale stun, and here comes Gamehunter trying to find someone in the backside as Korinyo comes through as well. Beautiful ultimate, a lot on point, and Murrdurr's going to be slowed down. PrettyPriMe still can't find the kill, but can Variety? Yes, he can. Solo lane pays off, and the interruption from Variety, very important, allowing Ataraxia to get the kill, but very quickly Korinyo answers back with his 3rd.
Korinyo finds him as Ataraxia tries to get away, and he's going to force Variety off the tower as well. That's going to be a 1 for 3, though, all in favor of Hungry for More, starting to close that gap. And honestly, I think PrettyPriMe was a little bit surprised on his damage. He actually found a beautiful impale at the start of that engagement into his own pillar, and then he, like, turns away to run. And then he, like, turns back, and he sees that whoever he hit, I think it was Korinyo, was poked out. Like, 50% of their life was just gone. Yeah. He could have looked to ult there and finish him off, but he held it.
Yeah, surprised by the damage. You know, Zindurn has gotten himself into 2 curious deaths, right? He's been very aggressive, but his team winds up capitalizing off of it. So do you call that a good initiation?
The best initiation is when the other team initiates on themselves.
Everybody pile on Zindurn, and then Hunger for More will go.
Yeah, there's a couple things you don't do, right? You don't pull the front line into your own team, unless you think you can 100 to 0 them, which they were able to do.
That's exactly what Murrdurr's going to do. He's going to taunt Zindurn and the monkey. And there's the ultimate from the big woof woof. PrettyPriMe, however, able to take out Murrdurr and the jump away. As CaptainTwig finds himself safe and sound. NinjaBobat and Moex giving chase, and here comes Apollo. Pincer maneuver, 2 on the right, 2 on the left. Korinyo able to take out a member of Hungry for More. Now everybody's looking at Korinyo, and he's not going to escape. Variety on a killing spree. 2 kills, 3 kills without a death, suffering that death early on. Variety feeling it, taunting the enemy. Dash off the mark, able to get the knockup, but it's all for fun.
He's really feeling himself.
Yeah.
6 and 8 read the kills. Torpedo still finding the kill lead, but he's actually going to look for Gamehunter.
No mess.
Might be able to find him out. Actually, pops his ult early. Athena ult charged on top.
Well played. Uses the tail whip to escape the Athena ult damage. Charge prey in the opposite direction. Gamehunter giving chase. Coming around the side is Zindurn. Popping up on the ultimate. Gamehunter turns around. Athena's still here. And Zindurn able to chase Murrdurr away just a little bit. Variety has every right to be feeling himself.
I don't know. He almost threw his life away.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, my friend. He's alive and well.
Blue F going to go his way as well. Interesting build coming up from PrettyPriMe, actually. Going into the Rage Blade, second item, if you're not counting Throwing Dagger.
Yeah, he's got the early crit. 22 power, 10% crit, if I'm not mistaken, on that Throwing Dagger. Can we hover over it real quick? This is becoming a very, 22 power, 10% crit on the Throwing Dagger. This is pretty much just a de facto starter item. And if you already have 10% crit chance, you might as well build into the other crit. Usually we do see this a little bit, the Rage Blade, a little bit later, in lieu of either penetration or just raw power.
I'm just saying math-wise. Like, I don't know how it exactly works out. Because there is, power curves are a thing, right?
Right.
And right now, PrettyPriMe could have gone into an Igvile, an Aussie. Like, there's a ton of options where not only are they cheaper, but it's more consistent damage than trying to rely on your crit chance, where if you don't find your crits, you're not winning the fight. Purification
burned from PrettyPriMe thanks to a strong taunt, and there's the ultimate out of the dog. Twig shows up, drops the monkey, and NinjaBobat gonna fall. That's a 1 for none. Hungry for More, trying to even up the lead as they approach 7 to 8.
There's these massive groupings where both teams seem to invest 3 to 4 ultimates into killing one person, and that's all that happens in a lot of these engagements. Is it just a 1 for 1, maybe a 1 for 2? No team has yet to full commit and try and find a deicide. But with that pick, Hungry for More, they're going to be starting up this Gold here, although they all are on top of a ward that they counter.
Gold Fury, 50%. There's a strong taunt from Murrdurr. Where's the follow-up? There it is. Huge ultimate out of Medusa. And here comes Soul and Gamehunter with those chin size online. Doesn't need him to take out PrettyPriMe. So Beautiful does the work. Variety now taking out Moex. Everybody's looking at Gamehunter. Here comes Athena crashing down. The basics, are they enough? The dash might be, but Korinyo finishes off Ataraxia. Gamehunter still alive. CaptainTwig overhand smash. Answers. Double kill for Korinyo. Variety takes him out. And then spills to Gamehunter after all of that. 5 members of Hungry for More down for the count, whereas Torpedo only 2 alive, but it's just the right players. They're going to be able to get this Gold Fury with a sliver of HP.
Maybe. NinjaBobat having to force this off. Gamehunter's 1 hit there. They're going to trade it. Really well played there at the end from Torpedo to secure that. And honestly, a beautiful fight from Gamehunter specifically. Dives into the back line, finishes off PrettyPriMe as he tries to get away. After that, immediately turns his attention to Soul. The Athena ult comes crashing down. He mezzes as many players as he can so they can get off as much of that damage as possible.
Oh, yeah.
And then dashing through, knocking up 3 players as well, and just positioning himself. And honestly, a lot of it comes down to him not being targeted. And now he has Armored Cloak. Looking for the Urchin once again. It was actually rank 1 just in that last fight, so it wasn't too helpful for him, but it's coming online now.
And a big, not for nothing, that dash to the opponents, not only does it knock them up, but a lesser known fact about Apollo, that also will build his passive Audacity and help him get to that double time attack speed very, very quickly. A lot of people don't recognize that on the moves.
CaptainTwig. Oh, I thought CaptainTwig was... I thought Zindurn was in trouble, but he's going to walk away as well. Gamehunter just controlling these harpies. Variety coming up big in that last fight as well. You saw him fighting, able to take out, I think, 2 players when it was just him and CaptainTwig left alive. And he's got Voidstone finished. He's got Breastplate done as well. So this Croc doing a lot right now. Pretty big power spike for him.
A lot of what was said in the break between week 2 and week 3, by myself included, was that for Hunger for More to succeed, we need to see 2 players really step it up. Those players being on the outside lanes, Zindurn and Variety. I think we've seen the 2 Titan boys really do work. Ataraxia and PrettyPriMe have done their thing, but I wanted to see more out of Variety, Zindurn, and CaptainTwig specifically, and all 3 of them have really showed up in various ways in this set, and I'm very excited for Hunger for More, because this looks to be a turnaround for the squad. This week seems to be very important.
Oh, Zindurn. He's going to dash forward, though. Torpedo aren't going to try and force anything off him. Another thing we saw was Murrdurr taunting and the big Petrify, I believe, stunning 2 in that fight. So that's something that Hungry for More, they're going to have to be careful of not to group up, because that is a game-changing ultimate, as they learned in that last fight.
Yeah, you always think about it in the lane context, right? Okay, I'm not going to get taunted because there's obviously a Medusa ult. But when you get taunted and all of a sudden Medusa comes from around the corner, what are you going to do?
Speaking of Medusa around the corner, Zindurn going to find him. Oh, but his dash got caught. We've seen this before.
Oh, and we've seen a dead Zindurn many times. CaptainTwig going to use the ult defensively to send Torpedo in the opposite direction.
He's like 20K ahead in his mind. I feel like that's what it is. I feel like Zindurn's still feeling game 1 where he thinks he's very tanky right now, and Torpedo are doing a beautiful job of...
Gamehunter used his ultimate as a teleport this time around, just to join up with the squad. No real destination in mind, it looks like, for Torpedo at the moment. Blink Apollo. Now, I get Blink Fenrir, not my favorite, but I get it. Blink Batz, obviously. Blink Apollo. What is Gamehunter going to do with this Blink? I mean,
he's
right
the
now,
initiator, man. And speaking of initiate, chased into the tower. NinjaBobat going to find the kill. He will get turned on, however, so it's a 1-for-1. I think NinjaBobat will take that as he's really not been having the best game. He's really been a setup god, so taking out Variety, who was sitting at 5-2.
Yep.
I think pretty big there, and Hungry for More continue this bait.
There's the taunt, there's the Medusa ult, and Korinyo gets credit for what was likely going to be Gamehunter's kill.
Okay, we saw this like 3 times in a row, and Hungry for More keeps falling for it. Like, it happened once. All right, then it happens again, okay, and then it happens the 3rd time. It's like, all right, boys.
This is like coming into work every single day and
like
somebody
what happened to the Hungry for More we saw last game? That everything was just well executed, planned, mechanics were on point. Now we're just seeing players get caught out, spamming taunt into the jungle, and obviously Variety got out of it.
They're just getting
like
tricked.
He almost died.
They're just getting tricked. But like you said, that's the 3rd or 4th time. That's like me coming into work every day and going, Kevin, you got something on your shirt. And then hitting you in the nose when you look down, right? If it happens every day at some point, that's your own fault.
It's getting pretty annoying.
Right?
It's not my fault. Stop it. No.
And so, like, you look at Hunger for More. How many times are you going to get tricked by the no one's here but Athena?
All
okay,
right.
Surprise! Here's the whole team.
All right. Let me tell you what's about to happen. Right. NinjaBobat and Korinyo are going to sit at the left side harpies.
Ooh.
Right. And what's going to happen is Zindurn is going to walk by, and then like look at them. And then NinjaBobat's going to jump stun him, pick him up in the ultimate, and then Zindurn's going to die.
And then Medusa comes around as well?
And then Medusa comes around as well in the rotations. Ataraxia matches him. Couple people die. Gamehunter lands in, kills PrettyPriMe in the back line, turns his attention. Variety's off trying to zone. And then it's honestly just Gamehunter ripping through your team. I've seen that like 4 times now.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Pretty good story. After the Rage comes the Aussie. I'm gonna spend a lot of time looking at this Anhur build because I find it so interesting that the Rage is this early. Really playing the RNG game, trying to roll those dice and see if he can wind up with that big old crit. But the Aussie now, that's going to allow him to, I mean, there's a reason we usually see Aussie earlier on. It's just a better item to have early than a Rage, I think.
Variety here. trying to secure his own boars, but it's going to go the way of Gamehunter. Variety does have a level lead, though, so farming a little bit more efficiently than Gamehunter. And we've seen Gamehunter rotate a lot and quite often, so losing probably a little bit of farm because of that.
Gamehunter's going to meet up with Variety. Mez, just to ensure a single basic.
Left-hand
Nothing else.
side, though, Gold Fury. It's spawned again. In both teams, they're grouping up around it. You can see Torpedo on the Gold Fury directly, and they do have a ward, so they know where CaptainTwig is. And I think they're trying to find him. Looking for the taunt.
Charge. Or dash is charged, and there's the blink, and immediately you're going to see the purification, and no PrettyPriMe for you. Zindurn going to block out Murrdurr. He's isolated, and here comes the rest of Hungry for More. That's exactly what they want to do. They've learned. They adapted. They adapted. They isolated the Athena. They took her out by herself before the ultimate came out. That's how Hungry for More need to adapt to that situation.
So a big thing in that fight, right? First off, CaptainTwig chases Korinyo out. Oh, it looks like Torpedo. They're not going to give this up for free, though. A couple more hits. Hungry for More do secure the Gold Fury. Bobat's here. Oh, actually, Bobat's here. Into the team. Oh, the portal closed in his face. He's going to be forced to ultimate. Variety should be able to clean this up. And he does. And Hungry for More, wrestling back a little bit of control from Torpedo. Closed the gap. Only 1,000 gold lead.
21 minutes in. Very close game after that Gold Fury. PrettyPriMe now going to be safely farming in his jungle. The experience very close as well, Kevin. You can see Medusa has a slight lead, but in general, there are
not too much at this late in the game.
There's a couple of players that are separated by half levels. Outside of the solo lane, everybody's pretty much even.
Left-hand side, CaptainTwig going to jump forward, looking for the gank, trying to close the gap. There's the Furious Monkey, going to be able to teleport, and the Fear No Evil, it's already up max cooldown, or excuse me, not max cooldown, only has Jotuns, but he has Void Stone as well, or excuse me, Void Shield.
As soon as the Athena showed up, everybody turned around, and Void Shield. This item is now commonplace.
Yeah, it's received a couple of buffs, and I think it's a little bit more appealing to junglers now. It's very team-oriented where...
Has it gotten buffed in Season 3? I don't think so. I think players are just finally coming around to it.
I thought it got cheaper. Maybe I'm wrong.
Penetration, it did get a tiny bit cheaper. I think you're correct. But at the end of the day, it's just an item that, like, penetration is hard to come by in Season 3. A lot of players were buying those Brawlers Beat 6, those Crushers. You're not losing too much for going for it. I'm so happy players are choosing this more often now.
Apollo, topping the damage charts. Something that happened in that last fight as well was actually Variety was out-trading Gamehunter, and his ultimate was actually used defensively. Gamehunter actually having to retreat to his tower, and in most of these fights, we've actually seen Gamehunter being the man on Torpedo that has turned the fight, right? They'll get the pick, then they'll start to lose because they invested so much, and then Gamehunter comes crashing down, and Gamehunter was the one to turn the fight. So him not being in the fight was super important because Variety... Now he's a little bit more effective, but earlier on he wasn't.
Gamehunter trying to deal with that effect of Sobek here. Find themselves backing.
Torpedo, they're just going to take this tier 1, force Ataraxia off, but you can see a lot of Hungry for More on the rotate.
Raxia opting to go for double stack building Warlock Sash next to the Thoth.
I mean, the Thoth isn't too bad. Like, you can build it at any time, but Warlock Sash, definitely fearing that he was going to get dove from the Fenrir specifically.
Fenrir now looking for Zindurn as he pops his ultimate, probably a little bit haphazardly. Nothing really found there, so a wasted ultimate coming out from NinjaBobat on the side of Torpedo. But that's fine as long as his team keeps pressuring tier 2 towers.
They weren't able to get much a poke, but they are forcing Hungry for More to kind of roam around in their own jungle because they're not exactly sure what Torpedo is going to do, and this uncertainty, I think, is a pretty big benefit for Torpedo. We actually saw that exact same thing happen with Paradigm versus Leftovers. They were just they forced they forced Leftovers to kind of have to defend 2 different lanes at a time.
Now Hungry for More on the offensive. All 5 players grouped up here in the mid lane. Ataraxia gets ready to start fighting the tower. Variety leads the charge. Gonna go ahead and clean up the wave. Flip back Korinyo, but purification used. Great Medusa ult. Not gonna find a stun, but the damage will. And PrettyPriMe gonna be found by Janus. Gamehunter up on the chariot. Jumping away is the mid laner. Sanctuary out to So Beautiful.
Oh, the Mez.
But the Mez strong enough. Murrdurr lands right on top of PrettyPriMe. Moex takes out Variety. Torpedo leading this fight 5-3.
Gamehunter very low. Got the meditation. The stun comes up from Zindurn. Moex, though, with the double kill, finds Zindurn. Like you said, the Wolf Moex coming up big, 3 kills.
Deuce Dusa turns into Trace Dusa. Moex keeping on the pressure in this mid lane. Taunt from Murrdurr. Ataraxia is going to get grabbed. Ataraxia is going to be the victim. 4 kills for Moex in that. Let's take a look one more time at the reign of Moex.
Moex here just starting this off with a beautiful Petrify. Murrdurr, I think, taunting 4 members, and then just the immediate follow-up. Oh, the Petrify had already happened. Okay.
Yeah. It's just his stick-to-itiveness here. Just 100% wanting to get these kills, not thinking about anything besides death.
He finds Zindurn here too, just before
Saves.
Gamehunter dies. And then I think this is, oh man, that was beautiful from CaptainTwig as well. Actually catching CaptainTwig as he fell in through the sky from the portal. Nothing Twig could do.
Yeah, Moex actually saves the life of Gamehunter. I don't think Gamehunter even spilled there. And that's the final one right there. Moex able to go ahead and smack him out. And of course, after that one, stuff after the stuff. Second tier 2 tower, or first tier 2 tower, excuse me, gonna fall down here as Torpedo continuing their onslaught. Everybody's still dead on the side of Hungry for More, so they're gonna look at the Fire Giant.
PrettyPriMe just spawning, same with Zindurn. PrettyPriMe was the first to fall, so the rest should follow in spawning. But with 2 towers and a Fire Giant done, Torpedo looking real good to start finding a pretty big lead, right? 6,000 and a lot of towers to take.
These two teams very evenly matched, and I think that everybody was expecting a close set here, Kevin, but what people weren't expecting was the level of play. I think a lot of people expected a close set between 2 below average teams, and what we're seeing here is a close set from 2 accomplished teams. These teams are not making too many mistakes, instead just we're seeing relatively good play, in all honesty.
Yeah, both teams are really showing up. I obviously, you know, against more tenured teams, can they keep this up?
Right, very, very different story. But like I said, I mean, I just, in all honesty, expected a lower level of play against these 2 players.
I think most of the SPL right now, everyone's very good.
Yeah,
individually,
nice
like everyone is playing at a pretty high level. I think it's just kind of the teamwork that a lot of teams are really lacking. But so far, both these squads have shown up today, and now Torpedo, they got their Fire Giant in tow. They're going to be looking for these last 2 towers. Gamehunter not only is split pushing, but has directed the eyes of 4 different players on Hungry for More, as the rest of the team is over on the left-hand side.
Yeah, it's almost like Gamehunter's not split pushing. The 4 members of Torpedo are split pushing.
All right, guys, we got to stop Gamehunter here. What do we do? We're all going to be there.
Hungry for More just haven't been local, and because of that.
Oh, this is a good fight for Hungry for More. Gamehunter actually going to have to go all the way over from the right-hand side, but it looks like Torpedo doing a good job of disengaging. CaptainTwig jumps forward, but that's going to be nothing, and 3 ultimates down for Hungry for More.
Look at Gamehunter. Gamehunter gets on his ult, heads over towards the fight, realizes it's not a deal, and goes right back to the tower he ulted from to take it out. Gamehunter has one goal in mind, and it's kill towers.
I love what Hungry for More did there. They noticed Gamehunter was still over on the right-hand side. We have a 5v4,
yep.
And honestly, the Apollo, it takes a couple seconds to get over here, so let's force this fight. They were almost able to take out Bobat, but unfortunately, Torpedo read that as well, and they just simply disengaged.
Gamehunter getting a little bit of trouble from this Sobek.
Left-hand side, also a 4v4 as Variety tries to defend the 1v1. And I like this from Torpedo. They're playing it safe. They're not trying to force it too much.
Hungry for More able to dish out a lot of poke. Gamehunter now getting low, but also Variety low himself. Nice little back and forth here we've got from the solo laners deep in this game.
Oh man, the baits.
The golden bow or the throwing dagger able to stop the back of Sobek. Bobat gonna get aggressive. So is CaptainTwig jumping on the backside. Finds a hit on the Moex. Finds a kill on the Moex. CaptainTwig with the shutdown. And Hungry for More all in. All chips on board. PrettyPriMe takes out the jungler. He'll land Ataraxia. Gets a big chunk taken out of him thanks to Gamehunter.
That's going to be 2 kills and no Phoenixes.
No Phoenix.
Hungry for More, they managed to hold. And to be fair, there are 2 members of this team that have held pretty well before. PrettyPriMe and Ataraxia all the way back to the European regionals in Season 1. 3 Phoenixes and 10,000 down. Managed to hold. I think with 3 Phoenixes up, it's a much better story for them. But honestly, most of these players are all coming into late game now, starting to finish off their builds.
Yeah, this is one of the things when you talk about big old leads. 10,000 gold in the lead for Torpedo. Hungry for More can I don't want to say easily, but it is possible to just turtle. You just stall the game. If you can defend under those Phoenixes, and with a Guan Yu, you certainly can. With a Fear No Evil, you certainly can. You can just wait.
I think Gamehunter needs to stop split pushing here, right? It's like, I don't know. It seems like he's really trying to split push, but just being in these fights, he's been one of the most effective members for Torpedo once he's in these engagements, and I think it's kind of hurting his team, the fact that he continuously split pushes. And it's clear that Hungry for More know what he's doing, and they're putting Variety to defend him, and Variety's doing a great job, so he's not able to get these Phoenixes like you would normally think, right? It's like, even if my team loses the tower, okay, I got a Phoenix or two.
Yeah. Now, Variety has been able to just stop Apollo in his tracks. Look at the player damage, though. Moex sitting up on top with the Medusa.
Your boy Moex. Mechanically one of the strongest players, I think, in Smite here. And Torpedo, they're up in kills, they're up in ward vision, and they're going to be starting up this Fire Giant. Might just be looking to bait it, though.
The CaptainTwig damage really surprises me.
He's been doing a great job of focusing out Korinyo in these fights.
Yep, he's been a big part of that. Murrdurr, everybody going to look at Variety. Can they burst the croc? They can. NinjaBobat gets a hit with Brutalize.
So we saw that story when it came to Zindurn early game, and it seemed, okay, are they going to do it again? They're doing it again.
No, this time
okay.
Not around.
I was like, I've not only seen this story, but I saw like the novel it was based off of.
And the remake. And the gritty HBO series. We've seen it all. Torpedo going to go ahead and look directly at the Fire Giant. Very quickly chew through the big fireman. Take out the buff. They're sitting over 10,000 gold above their opponent. They have the Fire Giant buff. Last time Hungry for More was able to defend their left Phoenix.
Hungry for More can definitely still defend here.
You think so?
Yeah. Once Variety's up, right, they may have to concede a Phoenix, but
yeah.
Team fight-wise, like, honestly, this Soul specifically, she's double stacked. It's almost completely done, and she has a Polynomicon. She does a lot of damage. CaptainTwig.
Yeah, CaptainTwig's going to get right up on in there, stop the dash forward from Athena, and then jump away. Smart play, but Phoenix still going to fall. Variety's up.
I'm really surprised they committed that much to defending that Phoenix instead of just waiting. No fear, no evil. Oh, the big Petrify finds 4, and NinjaBobat jumps in.
PrettyPriMe gets stunned on the backside almost accidentally. Korinyo able to take out the solo back very easily.
Bobat.
Jumps everywhere. Brutalize going to finish up Zindurn. Brutalize not going to find PrettyPriMe, but the jump will. Double kill for the dog. CaptainTwig answers back by taking out Gamehunter, but the damage onto the Order Titan, not enough. Torpedo coming in, trying to seal the deal, but the Order Titan's still very healthy. In fact, it's full HP. Torpedo adjusted, heads toward the Phoenix.
No minions, and we can see Torpedo not wanting to throw this game. They're going to take out the final Phoenix here and likely search for no one spawning for 20 seconds.
Here comes Ataraxia able to poke.
There's everything Ataraxia ahead.
Yep, that's the end of it. Order Titan, quite a different story this time around. Ataraxia gets sanctuaried, shoved back into the fountain. Jump. Where'd Athena go? Game win for Torpedo. Your hunger for more Torpedo winds up split right down the middle.
Really, game one was definitely very one-sided. That second game, though, really back and forth. Beautiful plays come out from both teams and all 10 players.
Great display from everybody, and we started off the game, honestly, with a bang. Great stuff coming out from everybody, as we said, but First Blood was very explosive. We'll take a look at it in just a couple of seconds, but it was really this kill that set the pace of the game coming out from NinjaBobat.
This was really surprising to me that Torpedo would force this. I think they had a losing engagement, but honestly, CaptainTwig just lagging. He just kind of sits there in front of an Athena, gets taunted, gets comboed. Yeah, CaptainTwig was lagging for sure. That's all I could say about that one. I don't think that was anything Torpedo did. I think that was just a mistake made. This, though, was beautiful. Gamehunter actually baits Variety into thinking that he's going to farm. Variety thinks he has a safe back. He tries to do it in the middle of the lane, and then Bobat from the jungle.
Bobat has just repeatedly made these plays over and over again, and the idea of Fenrir being this character is what we really see Bobat doing to the fullest extent. He's just a facilitator here, getting a lot of kills by way of his jump, looking really for the stun for his teammates to follow, and then he's able to pick up the character in his mouth and bring them to somebody that can deal the damage, like Gamehunter.
Gamehunter for me was the man who kept Torpedo in it because they were losing a little bit early. The fights would happen. Torpedo would commit everything onto a frontliner, usually Zindurn. Later on, it switched to Variety. And then Hunger for More started winning the fights, and then Gamehunter just comes down.
He's surrounded. He's surrounded by blue jerseys, and just him and Murrdurr are able to make it happen. Korinyo shows up as well, and then
look at that, right? He saves Murrdurr's life, and it's not the fact that he saved Murrdurr's life that's good because he dies anyway. What happens though is all the attention from Hungry for More is not looking at Gamehunter doing damage. Yep. They're all trying to secure the kill onto the Athena. Honestly, if Hungry for More had just turned their attention to Gamehunter there, they could have just killed him and won that fight. But instead, because he was able to save Athena, the attention's on trying to get the last hit.
Well, with that split coming down, that puts a close on our second game of the afternoon. We've got Cringe Crew now without their solo laner. They're going to be taking on Team Dignitas. That's the next match that we've got coming up for you. So ultimately a split down the middle for Hungry for More and Torpedo. I kind of expected that.
On the anniversary, looking at the next game though, on the anniversary of Mask's 1-year ban, Zashu joins him. April 7th seems to be the day where you need to be careful if you're an SPL player. We won't be seeing him for at least the rest of the split.
Yeah, you know, it's tough stuff for Cringe Crew, a team that looked to be very promising coming into the split. Will have to make adjustments. Deathians, the coach, will be taking over in that solo lane. Will he be effective? Stay tuned to find out right here on hi-rez TV.